Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing 10 palettes that I would keep if for whatever reason I had to pick only 10 palettes out of my collection to keep. I got this whole video idea from Leora. I have seen these done previously, but today she posted hers and I was like, you know what, I think I want to do that. So here we are. Now before we jump into this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So I'm going to be showing you guys the palettes, but not in any particular order. So I'm just going to grab one and start it off. So the first palette that I chose is the Dominique Cosmetics Transitions palette. I actually just got this in a BoxyCharm premium last month. This is a palette I never knew I needed. I love doing all matte eyeshadow looks, so this is perfect for me. I feel like this is a multi-purpose palette. Like, you can use these for blushes, bronzers. Like this shade, I would use that as a blush. I would use that to bronze. And I feel like you can probably even use some of these for like setting powder or something. The pans are really big and I feel like it'll just last forever. I absolutely love this palette. I even love the mirror in this palette. It's really nice and up close. It looks like a magnified mirror. I just feel like this is a perfect everyday palette. Since I got this palette, I've almost grabbed this every single time that I did my makeup. Like, I never knew I needed this palette so bad, but I'm really glad that I have it in my life now, and I definitely would not want to give it up. So that's why it's one of the 10 palettes that I would keep. So next up is a palette that I've been in love with literally since it came out. This is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. Mine is all beat up, but I really love these shades. I feel like the metallics are just like super intense. Like, look at that. And the mattes just blend out so nicely. Like, they're so pigmented. I just love this palette so much. I also love how creative this palette gets me. Like, I feel like I always come up with a different look when I use this palette, and I just love it. So that's another one. So next up is another palette that I've been in love with since it came out. It's the Anastasia Jackiana palette. Y'all, this palette is so good. I'm pretty sure you guys know what this looks like, but I love this palette so much. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch just a few of them for you guys to show you what they looking like. My swatches are bad, but just to give you guys an idea of what they look like. I'm pretty sure you guys know because everybody always talks about this palette. I feel like when I use this palette, I can come up with so many different looks. It has your neutral shades, it has your little pops of color here, and the eyeshadows perform so beautifully. I cannot get enough of this palette. If I could only grab 10 palettes, this will probably be like one of the first ones that I grab because I really love this palette. Like, I would not want to be without this for any reason at all. So, and next up, this is a palette that I used on my eye look today, and I actually quite like it. This was my first time using this palette, and it's already something I would grab even if I could only grab 10 palettes, and I will explain why. So it's the Secret of Pharaoh palette by Eben, or Eben. I don't know how to say it, but this is what it looks like. It is literally so gorgeous. I was not expecting for it to perform the way that it did, but I'm gonna go ahead and swatch some of these for you guys. As you guys can see from my eye look, they're intense and they blend out so nicely. I'm surprised at how affordable this palette is because it's really nice. Y'all, my swatches are so bad, but just to show you guys how beautiful the shadows are, and this is like one swipe swatches. So the reason why I grabbed this is, first of all, this is my first palette that I've ever gotten in PR, and it's just so pretty. Like, outside of the sentimental value, it is just so gorgeous. And next up, another palette from Anastasia. This is the Amrezy palette. First of all, I love the packaging. Like, these shades are really pretty, and I feel like for the times where I really want to go for like a really shimmery look, this is what I would grab. The shade Barb is probably my favorite shade in this entire palette. It is so gorgeous. Look at that. I hope you guys can see how gorgeous that color really is. I'm just going to swatch a few because I've just been doing that with all of the other palettes, so I might as well. Just to show you guys a few shades swatched in this palette. Palette is so gorgeous. Honestly, I could have gone without the glitters and they could have just made it like a regular 14 pan Anastasia palette, and I would have been more happy with that. But you know, it's still up there, so I would grab this for sure. And next up, another Huda Beauty palette. I am in love with my Naughty Nude. I can't go without this. I just love it so much. This is what it looks like if you haven't seen it already. I just love this palette. I really love the chocolatey shades. I'm really not a fan of the slippery shade here in this corner, but everything else is really gorgeous. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch a few shades for you guys. There's actually some shades in this palette that I haven't even touched yet, but I already know the palette is gold. So here are a few of the shades swatched. I feel like there's so many times that I just pick up this palette for the shade Naughty here. It's just the perfect chocolatey brown. I love it. I really feel like this palette is right in my comfort zone. Like, these are the type of shades that I will pick up and use on a regular basis. With the shimmers being as intense as they are and the mattes blending out as nicely as they do, I feel like I can always pick up this palette and either get like a quick to go look, or I can go really glam. And I feel like the shades are right in my comfort zone. So I really love this palette. I really like it. So yeah. And I do have some affordable options that I would grab, including my e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. I just can never get over this palette. I just feel like it's so pretty. I feel like this palette also speaks to my taste in eyeshadows. Like, we have our neutrals, we have our pops of color. I feel like this is a palette that you can use all year round. Like, you have your, you know, your fall shades, you have your really pretty summery spring shades. Like, yes. And I really hate limited edition things. They should have made this permanent because it's really a pretty palette. I love that it's an affordable option. I just wish that it was a permanent thing. Okay, and next up is a palette that's been like my favorite for such a long time. This is the Dose of Colors Rancation palette. It's literally the perfect eyeshadow palette. The mattes blend out so well, and these shimmers are probably the most intense shimmers that I have in my entire collection. And I also feel like this is one of those palettes that you can use all year round. Like, it don't matter. There's been so many times that I picked this palette up and I just use that shimmer right there and that brown, and I always be feeling myself every single time. I feel like this is just a no-brainer, and I'm not sure if this is like a limited edition type of thing or if this is something you can still get. But if you can get your hands on this palette, I would 10 out of 10 recommend that you do. Okay, now we're down to our last two. So next up, I have the Tammy X Revolution palette. I have recently got this and I tried it out for the first time here on camera. I have that link down below. But since then, I have been reaching for this palette and I'm so in love with the way that these shades perform. I really want to use this glitter called Firefly because on camera it looks like it's just like a reddish type of color, but it's really blue and green in person. I wonder, let me swatch it for you guys so you guys can see this glitter real quick, because whew, you guys see that glitter? It's like duochromed. I don't know, I just have to show y'all that real quick. So here are some of the shades swatched. I feel like this is a really colorful, fun type of palette. I also love that we get our row of neutrals here, and I also really love the formula of the shimmery shades. The shimmery shades are like a cream type of formula, and I really like that because you can do a cut crease without using like concealer or anything. And as you guys can see, the shades are really pretty. I feel like this was made with us brown skin girls in mind, of course, because Tammy is, you know, brown skin herself. But literally I can use every shade in this entire palette and it will show up on my skin. I just love this palette so much. So yeah, even though this is a recent pickup for me, I would still grab it. I still love this palette a lot. So, and last but not least, another palette that's new to my collection that is literally so bomb to me is the Dominique Cosmetics Latte 2 palette. I've come to find out that I really love Dominique's formula. Their shadows are just so gorgeous. The mattes blend out so well. So here are some of the shades swatched. As you guys can see, they're really gorgeous. And I also love that this is a palette that has a good amount of matte neutrals, and then you can also do your matte pops of color, like for those moments where you want to do like a little chocolate brown on the outside, and you can hit that yellow in the inner corner, or even the pink or the blue, or if you want to go with the shimmer. Like, you have so many options. I feel like as simple as this palette is, you can come up with so many different looks, and I haven't even explored all the looks that I can create with this palette. But I just love the formula. I love how the shades perform. So this is definitely something that I would grab if I could only keep 10 palettes. So yeah. Okay guys, so those are the 10 palettes that I would grab if I could only keep 10 palettes in my entire collection. I really enjoyed doing this video, and I'm curious to know what your 10 palettes will be, so please share them in the comment section down below. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one.